it's your girl Ariza, your licensed clinical social worker, test prep guru, your personal hype squad, whatever you want to call me. Just remember, I'm the one that's going to help you pass that exam. So this is your one-stop shop for tools, strategies, confidence, anything you need to level up and pass this exam. So remember, no stress, no overwhelm, just results over here. That's the only focus we have to get you the results you need. So today's topic is quite good, I must say. I'm not going to say it's the best topic because I think all the topics are amazing. But this is a topic I have today that I think is going to really help you. So in a second, I'm going to share my screen and we're going to dive in and I'm going to tell you why this topic is amazing and why you should be ready for it when it comes to your exam. All right, so your girl is back. Yes, and today I'm giving you a mini training on research and program evaluation and how it applies to that ASWB exam. So just a tip. These questions are usually like low-hanging fruit, if you know what that means. If you understand the logo, you understand the terminology, this is just something you can grab and go ahead and add that point. So research and evaluation shows up on both exams, the LMSW and the LCSW, and it's often tested through like an application-based type question. So you need to know the purpose, you need to know the method, and you need to know best practices. So let me tell you about the types of research. First, you have three major types that you're likely to see, which is the quantitative, that's dealing with all the numbers, the data, and the stats. Then you have the qualitative, that's dealing with words, experiences, interviews, all those types of things. So just think of like the numbers, words. That's kind of how I break it down with those two. And then you have the mixed method. That's just a combination of the numbers and the words. All right, a tip here, quantitative, measurable. That's why we're talking those numbers. Qualitative, meaningful. That's why we're talking about the words. What you say, what you do has to be meaningful. All right, so let's talk about some study designs. You need to know these terms cold. So don't try to say, oh, well, I think it's something about experimental, quasi-experimental. You need to know them. Experimental is randomized control trial. That's the golden standard. Then you have the quasi-experimental. That's no randomization. And then descriptive or observational, that's no manipulation, just strictly observational. And then you have the longitudinal. Think about long periods of time. Well, over a period of time, but we're going to do longitudinal. So we're going to say long periods of time just to help us lock in and remember that. And then you have cross-sectional. That's just like a quick snapshot. Are you studying for the LCSW or LMSW exam? Don't waste time on the wrong prep. Try my test prep program for free with a full module that gives you the real strategies, the real practice, and real results. Plus, you get access to my exclusive test prep community where you'll find support, study material, and accountability. No risk, no stress, just results. Click the link in the bio so you can get ready to win with the winning team. We often hear, and you might see this on a test example, like reliability versus validity. This is something that you've heard pretty much in our courses. I'm sure statistics and research and all that stuff was probably your favorite course in graduate school. So this is just a crash course because I'm sure you remember all that stuff from before. All right, reliability basically means that you get consistent results. A phrase here, same results, different day. It doesn't matter when you do it, the results are reliable, meaning the results are consistent. Now, validity means accurate measurement, meaning that the measurements that are being done here are accurate. It can be measuring, is it measuring the right thing? So whatever you're choosing to measure, you want to make sure that it is accurate, and that is how you get validity. So make sure you watch for questions because sometimes they'll switch the two. They might talk about consistent results, is that valid, or accurate measurement, is that reliable, and you don't want to get them all tongue-tied and twisted up in there. All right, so let's talk about some sampling methods. You have random sampling, that's equal chance equals better generalization. And then you have convenience sampling. That's based on availability. It's less rigorous. So use random sampling to reduce bias and to boost external validity. And I'll be honest with you guys, there's a lot of terms, a lot of knowledge. This is not my strong suit. This is not something that I know and feel uber confident with explaining and doing. So I had to do a little research and kind of figure some things out myself in order to do this training. So make sure you study the details of what you need to know. I hate to say this, but your girl is straightforward and honest. If it was me studying for the test, because I find this to be very boring, I'm not really interested in it. However, working on a doctoral program and PhD level stuff, you gotta know it. So it's kind of forced in that realm. But when it comes to social work, just on the master's level, you have engagement and interactions when it comes to these things, but not as much. So for me, I kind of just know what I need to know when I need to know it, but it's not something that I dig deep and really stress myself over. I kind of treat this section like the medication section. I might get 1 or 2 questions in it, and I'm just going to take my losses and take my chances and try to ace everything else, because this is just an area that I am not strong in, or area that I feel really comfortable and confident in. So remember, if that is you when it comes to this test, you have to pick your battles. You have to decide what it is that you necessarily don't like, but you're willing to invest time and energy. And then there's some things that you don't like that you're just like, ugh, I can't even figure out how to even use energy towards this. And if that's the case, focus on everything else, because it's probably only like 5% of the exam that you really feel that way about. If it's all of it, talk to your girl. I'm gonna have to help you with that one. Program evaluation phases. So you have the needs assessment, like what's the problem? What's going on here? Then you have the process evaluation. That's pretty much how are we doing it? Like how are we going to handle the situation? How are we going to evaluate this program? And then you have outcome evaluation. Did whatever you chose to do work? And then the cost benefit analysis, was it worth it? When it's all said and done, was whatever you chose to do worth it? So here goes a system tip. You know, system stands for like saving you significant time, energy, and money, because that's what I feel. When we take this exam over and over and over and over again, we're spending a lot of money and a lot of our energy towards this specific thing. So I believe in putting systems in place, a strategy, something that's going to help save you all the excess money in trying to pass. So that is why I try to give you these tips, and I give you a lot of systems so you can be successful. So think this: needs equal process, process equals outcome, and outcome equals impact. That is how I want you to look at that. That's pretty much it. Needs, process, outcome, impact. That's the area that I want you to kind of focus on when it comes to this section. All right. Hopefully you get what I'm throwing at you. Now let's talk about some ethical research principles. We have informed consent, confidentiality, do no harm, voluntary participation. Ethic questions all day long. When we talk about ethical research and principles, you're going to think ethics, because it's going to talk about that informed consent. It's going to talk about confidentiality, whether you're protecting the clients or the individuals or the samples or the people who are being the participants in the research. Are they being protected? Have they been informed what's going to happen or what can happen? Do they know that you're doing the best you can to do no harm, but these are the possible consequences? These are the things you want to know. Was the person voluntarily asked to participate in here, or was it an involuntary participation? These are the things we want to know and discuss when it comes to ethical research principles. Always protect the client or whoever the participant is first. That is key when we're dealing with ethics as it pertains to this topic. All right, here goes some testing tips. Look for keywords like measure, evaluate, assess, or research design. Those are some key terms. And then know which type of study is best for what kind of data. That's the key. Which type of study for what kind of data. So you're going to have to understand, like qualitative is when you're looking for what? Yes, quality, those words. Quantitative, yes, the numbers. So pay attention in order of operations. So when it comes to research questions, you know, pretty much like anything else, I've been saying it through each and every video, it's the same. You assess before you intervene. Assess before you intervene. There is an order of operations to things. It doesn't matter if you're doing research questions. It doesn't matter if you're doing a regular intervention question. It doesn't matter if you're doing an ethics question. Whatever it is, before we jump in and be mighty super social workers, we have to make sure what is happening needs a certain level of intervention or needs us to react or to handle something in that way. All right. And you also want to avoid biases in your answer selection. Choose options that mention randomization and consent, because that means that you have the permission, and randomization means that you just selected people strategically from different areas. You didn't just pick one group and try to obtain your information from that. That will be bias. All right, so here's some core topics you need to know. Yes, absolutely, your beautiful cheat sheet. So pull out your smartphones. Look at that, I got 2 phones. Pull them out, and make sure you take a picture of it, because if you are not in the course or the community, you won't have access to this beautiful core topic sheet. But these are some core topics that you want to know. You want to know the types of research, those 3 that are listed: quantitative, qualitative, mixed methods. You want to know study designs. I'm not even going to read them all again because we just went over them. But those are the study designs. You want to know the difference between reliability and validity, sample methods, ethical research principles, program evaluation stages. And this is pretty much what I would do. I would personally just study this little template. I know I tell you guys not to memorize it, so don't memorize. Just understand it. Be able to explain to someone if they say, what are some sampling methods? You'll say, oh, there's random sampling and convenience sampling. What are some research principles? Oh, you want to make sure you have informed consent, confidentiality is addressed, you want to do no harm, and you want to make sure that the clients have voluntary participation. So that's it, guys. It's just like that. These are the core principles and the core topics that you need to know when it comes to this section in the exam. So let me go ahead and roll out a test question for you. So you have a social worker, and they're evaluating the effectiveness of a new anger management program. What is the best way to assess whether this program is working? A, ask the participants, how you feel about this program? Or B, compare the number of outbursts before and then after the program. Or C, interview the facilitator about participants' progress. If you're trying to assess whether something's working, you want to have that data. So we're going to compare the number of outbursts before and then after the program. We're assuming that anger management, we're talking about any type of anger outbursts or anger management issues or concerns. That's what we're going to label as the number of outbursts. And then we're going to see how they were doing beforehand and then how they're doing after. I put the answer on these slides too. So the answer is B. We want to have measurable outcomes. That's an outcome evaluation. So that is pretty much what we're looking at there. All right, question number 2. What is the primary benefit of random sampling? Does it increase motivation? Does it reduce research bias? Or does it allow results to generalize the population? All right, and we just talked about this. I think if you remember in the few slides before, I said randomization. Yeah, I used the big word. And I was saying how it's important to do that because you don't want to just pick people from one group or one population. You want to have a mixture of them all. Yes, so the answer is C. It allows results to generalize the population. Basically, random sampling supports external validity. It's making sure that all the information you're getting is valid. That is why you want to do random sampling. All right, so quick recap. Quant, for quantitative, equals numbers. Qual means words. Valid means accurate. Reliable means consistent. And in the RCT, do y'all remember what that was? Randomized controlled trial. That was RCT. Remember, it said gold standard right there. I had it listed as a gold standard. So make sure that you guys understand this. You're looking at the core topics. You go through the questions. This is a recap just simply to understand needs, process, outcome, cost. And then, of course, ethics. You want to have consent and you want to do no harm. So this is just a quick recap. I hope this was helpful. I know it was really short, brief, straight to the point. Make sure that you took all the things that you needed from this so you can get ready. And I want to get ready to test. Yes, guys, I want you to use the information to eliminate wrong answers fast. Highlight keywords in the questions and look for those action words. We talked about them earlier in the slide, but they are evaluate, measure, and assess. When you look at those things, you're good to go. Apply your strategy or put a system in place. All the things are going to save you time and energy and all that good stuff to be successful, and make sure you knock this test out the park. Make sure you subscribe, make sure you like, make sure you share with a friend, all that good stuff, guys. I love rocking with y'all. I appreciate all the love and support that you guys have been giving me on this channel, and I look forward to blessing you with many more videos that's going to help you break down some complex stuff to some easy peasy stuff that you can digest and know exactly what you need when it comes to taking this test.